Um, okay. Well, beyond that giant 25-page study, God bless. I'm glad that that
It's
was.
like an enormous study with a lot of detail, but the takeaways are really clear and simple. Actually,
Yeah, like no, I'm glad they put that public. I'm glad that was like fully
Mhm.
released in that way because it's just super interesting. Um, right? Yeah, no, took our germs. All of that. Like anyone you fear, anyone you're afraid of, like show it. Yeah, 1,000,000%. Anyway, um, and then there was yeah, a great, like, I feel as if Harada has now become the new like Twitter Kamiya account where just like
Oh, he's way better at it than Kamiya ever
well,
was.
but like people basically just like Americans and Westerners are just like tweeting at this account of this Japanese dev who's now retweeting people and just fucking clowning around, and you never know when you're gonna get some wild shit. Esteban got himself retweeted for having his mom wear a "Don't Ask Me for Shit" shirt.
Oh,
Uh,
that's great.
yeah, like he's like, hey, give.
That is a great mom
It's
shirt.
a great
Yeah.
mom shirt, and like it's a picture of him giving it to his mom for her birthday, and like she loved it. It was,
Oh,
like
that
I'm
is
like,
good.
good shit, Esteban. Way to get the fucking quote on that. And then yeah, someone was like, hey, make this happen with a picture of after Heihachi in the battle pass and then the season of character announcements, Akira from Virtual Fighter. To which, of course, Heihachi has yes,
Yeah, there you go.
Heihachi
Yeah.
himself
Yeah, absolutely.
replies, first they should announce VF6, then we can talk. You know?
Can I just point out before we even laugh at Virtua Fighter 6 that Crusher slash Jody Ingram, um, Akira is a terrible pick for the Virtua Fighter representative. Awful.
Nah, do this ridiculous input that no other Tekken character has in this game to
Like
get
just
to get your
awful. Like
Tetsuzan off.
the least interesting, most like input complex. It would be Sarah. It would be Sarah.
I could see it being Sarah. I could see it being Jackie, right? Poster characters, and they could get wild and go with like Jeffrey or Wolf or something like that if they wanted to really go out of there, go out of left field. But yeah, Akuma is not Ryu and Geese is not Terry. Like putting Akira in there certainly would not be the way to play it. I agree. Um, the him saying that though, it's
Is
interesting.
this proof that VF6 just hasn't been announced yet?
No, it's just proof that he's willing to talk about the state of the affairs and where things are at. If a couple weeks ago he had that giant Soul Calibur thread, right, where he broke down exactly why Soul Calibur like someone basically said like, oh,
Pardon.
Soul Calibur would exist today like Tekken if it had someone like you running the team back from the Soul Calibur 2 days, but all the changes they made mechanically and stuff led to the game's downfall in popularity, and that's why it's not around. And Harada was like, no, that's not what happened at all. And he wrote a giant article breaking down the history of Project Soul and Tekken Project, the two teams that were kind of rivals with each other, but the thing they had in common was they didn't really listen to Bandai Namco as a whole. They were kind of independent and just doing whatever they wanted, and effectively what leads to a game, and this is relevant for Virtua Fighter too as well, for like something like that coming back. But he's like, what made those games successful from the jump was the fact that they had a team of really skilled developers and a person and a team lead in charge that was like very like had a very clear vision of what they wanted to do, was solid about like pushing that and resisting everything from the top down, that would compromise that vision. And that because they both had those identities, him and the Soul to Calibur developers, like again, like it wasn't actually heated, but it was definitely like an internal a rivalry to beat each other while both being like, fuck you higher ups, we're gonna make our game the best regardless of what you say. And then over time, while he held on to that team and like kept working with the series, Soul Calibur, the person who was in that role, left, and then a lot of the team ended up getting moved around or disbanded. So they just didn't have the ability to hold it together. And the whole time both teams were like that. The top-down Bandai execs were like, they hated those teams, and they hated the fact that they wouldn't listen, even if the shit they were making was great, and even if the IP was continuing to be successful and stuff. They were like, we don't want to have to fight with you over creative decisions and over money decisions and all that shit, you know? So if they don't have someone in charge to resist, then the disbanding is going to happen, because they're going to pull people apart and gut it as soon as they can. You know,
and management. The long and short of management.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. So he resisted, and that's why Tekken continues to be what it is today. Soul Calibur couldn't after the lead left, and so now its guts are splayed everywhere. And he's like, there still are people that could get together, that care enough, that have the skill to do it, but they'd have to unite at the company and make a concerted effort, which is hard to do when management is actively trying to stop that from happening. You know, and yeah, it reminds me of just like any time you hear something about, hey, don't get too excited about any patches to this game. We don't want people to think something's coming. You know, you get that, you get something like at Virtua Fighter, where it's like, okay, if you don't have the people and you don't have someone in charge to be like, okay, fuck whatever they say. If we get the green light to do this, we're just gonna push ahead regardless, because we know what we're gonna deliver. And you can like dance the dance that is effectively until the publishers show up at your door and burn it down, you know, to stop you. You're going to do whatever it takes to make the game good according to what you and your team know you can put out. You know,
you know who you should listen to in times like this? Everyone working everywhere. You should listen to the advice of one of the best directors ever, one Mel Brooks.
Yeah. Yes. There you go.
Who, when he was making Blazing Saddles, the producer above him at the studio came in and said, I don't like that Gene Wilder. I don't think he's a good fit. You should get rid of him. And he said, absolutely. He's gone tomorrow. And then just didn't do fucking anything. And every single time someone came to him and told him what to do, he's like, no problem, sir. Right on it. And then just fucking did whatever. And then the movie would be done before they realized anything. And he'd be like, well, too late.
Don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness. This is the part where I also follow up with the Walking Dead comic book story, where, Kirkman pitched it as a series that was about people that were going through the struggles of a post-apocalyptic zombie world, and it would be interesting. And they're like, and then what? That doesn't sound interesting at all. He's like, and then it turns out it was aliens. And then they come down in one of the later books, and it becomes this whole crazy war that fights across space, and the zombies are just phase 1 of this invasion. Like, oh, that's sick. Okay, let's go. Green light. 9 books later, hey, when are those aliens showing up? Oh, they're not. God damn it.
People are pointing out in the chat that Hidetaka Miyazaki of Demon's Souls and onwards did the same thing.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Where they're like, hey, can you make an Oblivion clone? Like, that's what Demon's Souls is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a clone of Oblivion, because Oblivion was blowing up on the Xbox, and Sony was like, From Software, can you make a clone of Oblivion, like an Oblivion style game? And he went, oh, totally. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then they made Demon's Souls, and that's one of the reasons why, if you look back at Shuhei Yoshida, Shuhei Yoshida was like, and he like really didn't like Demon's Souls and thought it was dog shit and wouldn't put it out in the States. The reason why he felt that way was because that guy asked for make me an Oblivion.
They didn't listen.
They put Demon's Souls on his fucking desk.
Yeah. There you go.
And he's like, what the fuck is this?
Oh man, it's the follow-up conversations that I want to be a fly on the wall for, right? It's like, hey, so when are those aliens going to show up? Like, oh yeah, they're coming. We're building it up. Like, oh, okay. You know, and then just that third and fourth and eventual there are none, are there? Like, nah, there isn't. Hey, how those sales doing? You liking those numbers? All right, shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of my office. Don't let the door slam your ass on the way out. Like, uh-oh, it was successful. You idiot. Now what? You have to hold your fucking ego behind your ass on that one, because you demanded something else. They didn't listen, and the thing they didn't listen to you on turned out to be a huge success.
There's a point in every discussion about what the thing you're making is going to be, in which you have to keep in the back of your head what is and is not in writing.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like what? Like just make sure that all the important bits about what you want to make are verbal agreements, and just ignore them.
And somewhere in there is the other tech that is the South Park tech, right? Of just like making a bunch of shit that just goes so far and beyond, so that when the cuts come, you actually just stick it to the level that you were expecting the joke to be at, because you plan to have shit get cut out, and then always reference the Austin Powers coffee bit, because anytime any censor wants anything removed from whatever you're making, it's like Austin Powers sipped a mug of diarrhea, and that was a PG movie. Like anything less than that should be okay. Yeah. Anyways, speaking
that
of,
did happen. That you're not. Yeah. No. That.
Anytime a censor is like, hey, that's too far, it's like, yeah, well, what about fucking this movie that children went to go watch? And the mug says diarrhea on the mug, and he goes,
Well, children can't read, so.
Yeah. Anyways, speaking of listening to outside opinions, last but not least here.
Stop. Don't.
Okay, but what if they're holding shares?
Wow, you should extra not listen to those stupid motherfuckers.
You want to talk about lying and moving on and going, yes, sir, right away, sir, it's done, sir. And then just going on about your way, hang up the call, and then just sit there. Yeah, I mean, God bless, right?
Wouldn't Monster Hunter Wild be way more money if you put it out in like a month?
Just release Wilds earlier, bro. Just put it on the Switch, dude. Just do it.
You'll make so much more money if you do it now. And
okay.
Then the statement from the Capcom guy is like, we're focused on making it good.
But hold on. You know how you're planning to release it like next year? Yeah. Wouldn't you make more money if you released it now?
No, actually. And
but
that
why?
Isn't an acceptable answer, because they'll never understand.
I want the concept of like time and space on a fucking graph, on a chart, like pointing to it, because we are moving in time, and things occur on timelines, because some things are and some things are not. Yeah, it's kind of I mean, it's hilarious, it's embarrassing, but it's also nostalgic that we're hearing that Capcom is putting up with these kinds of investor questions, which is what the story is, by the way. Just an embarrassingly stupid one. It reminds of it's the time of Iwata, right? It's that era of Iwata at the Nintendo investor meetings, just fielding that shit and finding a polite way to be like, oh dear God, just shut the fuck up. Thank you for your investment. Please leave. You know?
I love how so many of the responses are like, instead of being like, no, that's stupid, it's no, that's stupid. Like it's the same
cadence.
thing,
yeah.
just in a
we
a
are
nice
focused.
voice.
Yeah, please. We are focused on the quality and delivering a thing that, you know, will not be a piece of shit, because the reason why you showed up here is because the quality that people liked led to the thing being this popular in the first place. So that's why you're here. Yes, thank you.
Well, you see, that might cause short-term gains for this quarter, but it'd be bad for next quarter, says the man to someone getting ready to sell his shares at the end of this quarter.
And you're now facing the reality of the situation, which is the person is like barely half listening on the call, and it's essentially the difference between investing in this or investing in fucking weed farms or throwing it all into crypto, whatever the case may be. It's all the same.
Yeah, well, that crypto shit's working out great for everybody.
Fantastic, I'm sure, but that's perhaps the reason behind the call, because he's looking at how the results are on one side and going, oh shit, I gotta make up for these losses, and I gotta make up for them in December. Hey, yo, when's this monster fuck what coming out? Hurry it, you know, because it's like, this is where your shit is, and this is where you know. It's, yeah, you're literally like, you're playing it like a stock. It doesn't matter what you're investing in. Someone said, oh, go dump it in this. And you're like, okay, I don't understand anything about any of this. I have no fucks given. And you know, like, I mean, whenever we talked about this, like when it came to the entire like concept of how publicly traded open shit is just fucked from the jump, no matter what. In this case, but it sucks a bit less if you're dealing with people who are throwing the money in and then just shut the fuck up. Then, you know, it's like at the very least, it's like, okay, they might grab it and sell it and you know, jump off at any point or whatever. You can't predict what's going to happen there, but you don't have to deal with this inane, complete nonsense bullshit that is just clearly indicative of like, you have to make these people happy while also continuing to make something that is good. And literally how, you know, especially if you have these types of people that have larger and larger controlling amounts, where suddenly that stupid question, you don't just be like, that's stupid, but it's like, how do you, what is the politeness in your voice to somebody who's holding 49%? You know what I mean? Like, hey, wow, that, yeah, like how much flour can you put behind it, you know? Like, it's, I don't know, but it feels like a hopeless fucking cause.
So I have no way to segue to this, so I'm gonna jump into it. Speaking of companies that got to retain control over themselves, you know, Larian, and how they've attributed a huge proportion of Baldur's Gate's success to the fact that they just got to do whatever the fuck they wanted.
And Tencent had a quiet third.
So patch 7, people were digging around in like the beta for it, and they found bits and pieces of companion dialogue and code for Alfira the Bard, where she would actually has mechanics for joining the party somehow.
What's that?
Alfira the Bard from the Druid's Grove.
Oh, the character. Okay. Was supposed to be.
No.
Sorry, I don't. What I don't understand. What's the implication of what you're saying?
People digging around in the closed beta of the new patch have found new bits attached to that character, new stuff attached to her.
Okay.
Where that is there for companions and characters in fights and shit.
So new relationships and are going to be added
so it's
in.
possible that even in a limited form, Alfira will be able to join the party.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Wow. Going back to mod old stuff even after you're past this point, that's crazy. Good shit.
Well, they've also had the mod kit's coming out for Baldur's Gate, which will allow you to just go into the game and just download mod that will just work. So soon people will be able to play as new races or like have the no party limit mod with a click of a button. Like, I'd like to play the game with an officially supported no party limit mod. That would be cool.
Are these things like, so they had the big patch the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do they, I was like, yeah, do these things get saved up for like the next big patch if or do they just sprinkle it over?
Oh no, the next patch is patch 7. So the general distinction is patches are huge amounts of content and general reworking, and hot fixes are we fixed this crash.
Hot fixes, right,
we fixed this bug.
Okay.
So like patch 7 in September is going to have all that, but then they're also going to be like, oh, by the way, Dark Urge has more story.
Sick.
And there's more endings for all the evil playthroughs. And Gale will you can now feed Gale any item from anywhere on any character when you talk to him. You don't have to go and get it.
That conversation about just make it like Baldur's Gate 3 is becoming more and more impossible as time goes on.
Oh, absolutely.
it's like it's becoming the most insane, distant fucking pie in the sky goal that just can never be reached. Boy, wow. Okay.
They are saying that this patch is the last one. I don't know if I believe that. But they are putting out an integrated mod browser, so people will be able to continue to patch it for them. And they will.
Wow.
There's going to be an unofficial bug fix mod in that goddamn browser on the first day that will be updated every day of the rest of our lives.
Hey, Baldur's Gate player, how many restarts do you have in your soul?
Me and
Of
Penny
this
still
game.
haven't beaten the game. I'm looking at it. I'm like, well, we're gonna have to restart again.
How many restarts, player? How many restarts in your soul? What's the number? Oh my God, Jesus! I know my number. It's very low.
It's probably one.
It's for every game I play. It's extremely low. Yes.